Are you thinking about moving to Tinton Falls, New Jersey? Well, stick around because I got just a video for you. Today we're taking an entire map tour of what it's like to live in Tinton Falls. We're going to cover the commute to New York City or Philadelphia, school systems, housing, and a bunch of others. But before we get started, if it's your first time to the channel, my name is Steve McCutcheon, and I'm a real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway. On the Live in Central New Jersey channel, we cover everything related to the Central Jersey real estate market. So if you're going to be the first one to know what's going on in either Monmouth or Ocean County real estate, feel free to click the bell, hit the subscribe button. Let's get the video started. Alrighty, so here we are right on the map tour. You can see we have a zoomed out look at just Tinton Falls in general. Kind of a weird shaped town, I would guess. It's very long and not diameter, I guess diameter would be wide. But just very long of a town. It could take you maybe 20 minutes to get from the most southern point over here to the most northern point. And then obviously you can get through the middle of it pretty fast in about less than 5 minutes. So kind of odd the way that is. So basically, depending on where you are located in Tinton Falls, might be the difference between maybe where you want to commute to work or anything along those lines. So let's kind of break it down a little bit to what it looks like, I guess, in Monmouth County real quick. Pretty good image right here. So I would say for Monmouth County, you're going to have the shore towns are all going to be along here, this eastern border. You're obviously not quite a shore town or a beach town by any means. You're more inland definitely than that. Colts Neck right here is just going to be pretty much the most center point, I would say, in Monmouth County. And Tinton Falls is directly to the east of that. So kind of central, kind of also eastern. It's right around there. So figure out exactly however you want to play, but I would say central, eastern, right there. And then when we go back to the map, with the school districts, a little sneak peek there for you. There's a couple major roadways that going to run through Tinton Falls, right? So obviously being as long as it is, there's a bunch of them. So you're going to have, back to my drawing, Route 18, that actually goes north to south, but just that small part of that goes through Tinton Falls, that's actually going to be east to west right there. So that's 18. You're going to have 34, 33 at the bottom. That's 34 was north to south, 33 will be east to west, 36 slightly, just barely kind of nixed in there. That's going to run north to south, but then again, that little part's going to be east to west in Tinton Falls. But the main roadway of them all, by far, is going to be the Garden State Parkway. This is the last one I'm outlining here. Runs north to south on one of our two major highways that we have here in New Jersey. It is going to be a toll road, while all the other ones are non-toll. So just to give you, a little bit of heads up on that one. But in general, if you need to commute anywhere north or south, it can get you into New York City, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Can also bring you to the most southern point of New Jersey. That's going to be Cape May. So the Garden State Parkway is very good to have and literally runs pretty much to the entire length of Tinton Falls right there. So you have plenty of different access points to get into it. So that's pretty much the location of Tinton Falls. Not like too much in there. As we get into maybe like the housing prices later, it's going to be a little bit better than some of obviously the shore towns. Anytime you get a water view, water access along here, that's going to dramatically increase your price point. So it's a little nice to be kind of close to the Jersey Shore or the beach, but also not necessarily pay the exact same price that you might have to. So we'll get to that later though. So the next thing we're going to want to cover is just the commute to work. With the commute to work, there's two different locations I guess you can really work in. And then obviously where we are in New Jersey, we zoom out real fast. Doesn't really get bigger than this. You got New York City, and you're also going to have Philadelphia. And let's say this is Monmouth County, pretty much smack dab in the middle of them, right? So just depending on where you live in Monmouth County, though, is going to be depending on where you want to work. With Tinton Falls, you can kind of get to either one relatively easy because it's the central of Monmouth County. If you're in that southern portion over here, it's pretty easy to get to Philadelphia. We'll outline that in a second. And if you're in the more northern portion, it's pretty easy to get into New York City. So let's go through the two. First one we'll just do Philadelphia real quick because unfortunately there's only one way to get there. There isn't really great public transportation from Monmouth County into PA, unfortunately. So there's not going to be a train or a bus, at least an efficient bus. I think there is one that takes like 3 hours or something like that, something crazy. That obviously most people are not going to want to do on top of a 9 to 5 type of job. So we're going to want to depart from about 7 a.m. Let's just say it's typical commuting hours. The most cars are going to be on the road around then. And this is from I would say the central part of Tinton Falls right there, right? Because Red Bank's going to be pretty much the most northern part and down here. So yeah, somewhere in the middle of Tinton Falls, they have it between an hour and 20 minutes to an hour and 50. You're going to hop on the Garden State Parkway, this short part right here. And I just blocked that. There we go. So then you hop on the Garden State Parkway. That's going to be a toll, like you said, 195. That's going to be non-toll. And then depending on where you go out there, if you hop on the Jersey Turnpike, that's 95 right here. That's also going to be our other major highway, and that's going to be a toll road over there. So you might have to deal with two tolls, but other than that, realistically, you're pretty much your direction to get into Philadelphia. They have it from an hour and 20 up to about 2 hours, hour and 50 minutes. Cut the difference, say about an hour and 40-ish, somewhere around there, would be your commute into Philadelphia. So very doable, especially driving every day. And then if you want to get into New York City, there's a couple different options that you can possibly take. The first one, like we just mentioned with the Garden State Parkway, that's probably going to be your easiest one, right? So you have that directly through the entire township of Tinton Falls. As we zoom back out here, there's different routes to get into New York. And when I mean that, we're pretty much talking about the Manhattan area, so right over here. You can work in Staten Island, Brooklyn, Bronx, out to the east over here, but pretty much typically we talk about Manhattan if we're talking about New York City. A lot of people will work in the city because they have a higher salary, but a better overall quality of life here in Monmouth County. Very common. So the Garden State Parkway, let's bring that up north. And then in this way, you can take the Parkway all the way up and go up that way. You can cut through Staten Island. There's a couple different ways you can do that. Pick your poison, pick your choice, whichever one you want to do. Again, they're all going to be about the same time frame. Distance-wise, I would say hour and a half, hour 45, upwards of 2 hours as well. So pretty much similar to what Philadelphia is going to be. So either way you look at it, you can get to both of them pretty or relatively easily. The one difference I would say though between New York City and Philadelphia, we just mentioned, the public transportation is going to be much better for New York City than it is Philadelphia, but also with Tinton Falls, not necessarily the best. And let's kind of break that down why. So we can X out of that real fast. So we'll outline Tinton Falls one more time for you, give you an idea of where it's at. Let's say you want to take the train, right? Well, unfortunately, while the train does run through the east coast of Monmouth County, it also avoids Tinton Falls. So the line's going to be right here. I kind of went off there a little bit. And it's going to bump all the way out east here and then go through like some of the short towns like Asbury, Long Branch, and all that. So unfortunately, as you can see, you're obviously quite a bit of distance away from the southern part, from like pretty much the next stop. If you are in the northern part of Tinton Falls, though, you do have the Red Bank station that's going to be right here, so very close and nearby. That's probably going to be your best bet if you're going to be taking the train. And if you're looking for housing, living in that northern part of Tinton Falls, if you are taking the train specifically, that's going to be your best bet. Can you do the Long Branch exit? Absolutely no problem with that. There's one little silver over here as well. It is possible, but you're going to cut out how many stops if you live in that northern part near the Red Bank station. I think from there it's about like an hour and 20, hour and a half. So in my opinion, that's probably going to be your best if you're taking the train. The other option would be taking the bus. There's a couple different ones you could do here. Again, Red Bank, very great spot to be commuted from. There's going to be a bus station somewhere right around here, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe a little bit closer to the Parkway. I forget exactly where it's at. That's going to be one of your options as well. And you're going to probably use an Academy bus versus a New Jersey Transit. So New Jersey Transit does a bus service and the train service, but the bus service is kind of limited in certain areas. So Academy is a private one. That's going to be more along the shore towns and the eastern coast of Monmouth County. So that'll be right around here. There's also going to be one not necessarily in Tinton Falls, but it's going to be along the Parkway. It's typically somewhere, again, right around here. It's going to be a park and ride. It's exit 109 off of the Parkway. I don't know exactly, or no, it might be a little farther up here because that's more towards Homedale and the PNC exit. So possibly somewhere in this range. And that's going to be a park and ride. So what you do is you just drive to that location on the Parkway and, leave your car there. And then you're going to hop on the bus and take that into work. That'll go into Port Authority. So those would be your two commuting options. The bus is going to be, if you take it from this park and ride where I just circled it before, that's probably going to be roughly about an hour and a half-ish, hour and 20 minutes. So similar to the train from Red Bank. So either way you look at it, either public transportation option is going to be roughly the same time frame. Kind of depends on what you want to use. But again, if you need your car anyway and you're meeting with clients or something along those lines, you're driving anyway. So that's going to take you about an hour and 40-ish, depending on where you are located in Tinton Falls. So public transportation getting to Philadelphia or New York City is going to be relatively easy. Or I'm sorry, not for Philadelphia, but just commuting in general will be easy, but just not public transportation in that aspect. So, but yes, you can commute to either one of them. And then you're also going to, obviously, if you have a job necessarily in Jersey, that's not going to be an issue as well. I actually just had some clients that moved here from out of state, and they are going to work in the Newark area. So over here, the train runs up there as well. Some of the buses do too. Some of the buses, once you get past like Monmouth County, though, are going to be express into Port Authority. So you just have to kind of see and play around with like the map, like whether NJ Transit or the Academy line is going to be best for you. Next up, kind of like the sneak peek I gave you before, that's going to be the school systems. So Tinton Falls is going to have two separate ones. You're going to have the Tinton Falls School District, which we're on currently, and then once your child gets to high school, they're actually going to attend something else. So niche.com is the website I use. You can go to Great Schools or whichever place you get your information from. Here they're going to have it rated B+. Houses roughly about 1,400 students and has a 12-to-1 student-teacher ratio. There's going to be 3 schools throughout the district. Scroll down here for you. I'll give you a map, I guess, real quick. Let's say quack or quick. And all schools are going to be located in the more northern part. You have two elementary and then one middle school. Uh, this one right here, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be your K through two. Yes, it's going to be rated B, and it's going to be house K through two. And your other one's going to be three through five. Middle school is going to cover sixth through eighth grade here, so that's pretty much relatively pretty standard. Most of the townships here. Some are breaking it down a little bit more though. They're going K through two, three through five, maybe or no, maybe three through four, fifth and sixth, and seventh and eighth. You've seen that recently a couple of times. So each district is going to be slightly different, but this is typically how it's kind of functions around schools. And then when your child wants to go on to high school, they're going to attend Monmouth Regional. Being a regional high school, it's actually going to take in kids from multiple different towns, Tinton Falls being one of them, and the school is actually going to be located in Tinton Falls versus the other ones. But they're also going to pull kids from Shrewsbury Township and Eaton Town, so you got all three of them. Monmouth Regional is going to be rated A minus, houses around 938 students, and has a 10 to 1 student teacher ratio. So one of the cool things about New Jersey and I guess Monmouth County in general is we have a very good school district. This one's going to be rated an A minus and is still only the 19th best high school apparently in Monmouth County, which is kind of insane. We have 53 municipalities. Not all of them do have a high school, but just to kind of give you an idea of where the ratings are here in Jersey. Excellent school systems throughout, especially Monmouth County too, and even the more northern part of New Jersey. I say northern and central is pretty much like where the best schools are. Once you go a little farther south, they're still good, but just not as, I guess, prestigious or good as the more northern areas. But what else we got here for this one? Just kind of give you an idea of where it's on the map. Like I said, it's going to be located over in Tinton Falls. So those are going to be your public school options for Tinton Falls, and there is going to be one more, I guess, realistically two more we can go through, but the most, I would say, the most prestigious school that we have here, at least on the private side of things, is going to be Ranney. It's rated number one. Definitely very expensive. If you go on their website, I think it's by the time you're a senior in high school, geez, I think it's in like the 30K range, maybe. Oh, duh. I wasn't even looking at the screen like a moron there. $32,000. I don't know how accurate that is or up to date. It's going to vary per grade. So your I think it starts at kindergarten, first grade. That's going to be much lower. And then as you go through the years or, get up there into ninth through 12th grade, your high school years will be your most expensive. So very good school, college, like it's probably one of the best. It's definitely the best in Monmouth County, as you saw by the ranking, but it's also probably going to be one of the best in the state, I would say, for private schools too. So excellent sports, great academics. They're going to prepare your child for college, but you are going to pay quite a little bit for it. It is going to be co-ed. The other one that's going to be nearby too is going to be Christian Brothers Academy. We'll just rip through that real quick while we're at it. That's going to be located in Lincroft. So Lincroft would be a little bit farther north. We'll look at the map real fast, and this is going to be the second best private high school, all boys though. So not co-ed like the Ranney School is. A little bit cheaper. So this one's about $16,000, it says. It's about half the price. And then map wise, not far. So remember Tinton Falls and how long it is if you're in that more northern part of Tinton Falls up here. Not a far drive whatsoever. It's actually going to be located pretty much directly across the street from Brookdale Community College, which is the community college for Monmouth County that we have here. So all those schools, or at least the two private schools, are going to be very close nearby if you're interested in that for your child. Otherwise, Monmouth Regional still a pretty good high school. Just I guess in terms of the rest of Monmouth County doesn't rank in the top 10 or anything, but still A minus according and still relatively pretty good. So next up, we're going to want to look at the housing options. Got these pulled up for you. And the way housing works is you'll kind of see it a little bit here. I'm kind of interested to see what happens over the next 3 months because this is a similar trend that we're seeing a lot recently. The absorption rate. This is what's going to tell you what kind of market that we're in. So a seller's market is going to be less than 6. A buyer's market will be more than 6. And what that means is in terms of months worth of inventory available. So right now we're currently sitting at about 2.6 months worth of inventory, meaning we have about 2.5 months worth of homes for sale here in Tinton Falls that if not a single new home came on the market, that's how long the inventory would last, right? So it just gives you an idea. We're near a 12-month high currently right now. And this goes up to November. We don't get the next month's stats. So when this video comes out in December, those won't be available until we hit January. But as of November, we were near, not quite, but just near a 12-month high worth of inventory available, which is kind of unique because typically the way a real estate market will work, especially here in New Jersey, is this is our downtime. So usually, as you can see, last December, say that was probably like 0.9 or so. That is a big difference in the amount of homes we have for sale versus what we did. Now, do we still have a shortage of inventory? Absolutely. We are nowhere near where we need to be, unfortunately, for all the buyers out there. But that's a pretty promising sign at the same time. Why the sudden uptick? Well, interest rates coming or obviously shooting up definitely didn't help, but now they've come down slightly. I guess we're starting to see a little bit more activity. I know the summer was busier. I'm even having a pretty busy winter myself, ironically. Had two closings in December. That's relatively pretty rare. And I've already lined up another one up for January. So it usually is our slowest months. It's very cyclical for real estate. So the winter times typically are deadest. Spring's when everyone's starting to get their homes ready for sale or starting to purchase. Summer's our busiest by far. Fall is kind of like the leftover from that. But you have faster transactions because everyone's trying to get in before the Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then I would say from like Thanksgiving to like Super Bowl timeframe in February, that's pretty much like our deadest time of the year. So the fact that we have a pretty decent amount of inventory left right now in Tinton Falls, that's a nice sign moving forward. And going down to some of the statistics and like where it kind of sits. Well, here's where it gets a little annoying for I guess for some buyers, right? We'll start off with the prices. They've gotten up about 18%, which is bananas for even Monmouth County. Um, the good news is though, in terms of just I guess price points in general, the fact that we are sitting at about 550,000, that's pretty nice because the Monmouth County median sales price this year so far is about 675,000 give or take, right? So it's roughly the number. Whereas Tinton Falls looks to be well under that by about $125,000, which is pretty significant in terms of how much affordability that you have for a home. So while it's gone up quite a bit, it's nice to see it in comparison to other parts of Monmouth. Days on market, you're looking at 13. Pretty common. It was 10 last year, but 13, a home is pretty much lasting a week on the market if it's well priced, looks good, and that kind of thing. So pretty overall healthy market. We would like to see more homes so then this 18% increase doesn't continue to happen over here. But, you know, what kind of hard to say what's going to happen moving forward, but we'll see. I think we're going to get a little bit more inventory this year and probably more sales, although our sales are pretty much near like all-time lows at the same time. Moving on to that, luckily though for Tinton Falls, it's actually up. So Monmouth County so it's up about like 9%, let's just say, right? Monmouth County as a whole is about up 3.5 or like 4% roughly. I know the other county we cover on this channel is Ocean County. That's about down 3% or 3.5% in terms of total sales. So it's a little bit of a difference between those two. One of the major things is once you get into Ocean County, your commutability into New York City decreases pretty heavily because you go a little bit farther south. And obviously, you're looking at times that are going to be 2.5 hours plus for your drive, and not a lot of people want to do that. So that's one of the major reasons why you see home prices in Monmouth County going to be higher versus ones we see in Ocean County. If you've watched any other of my videos too, more people settle down in I guess, the Monmouth County area versus Ocean. So, but the fact that we have more sales, that's excellent across the entire nation. We have lower than 2008 levels of sales and I think 1994, 1995. So we're pretty much near like 30-year lows for existing home sales, which is kind of nuts because obviously our population has kept growing since that time frame, and housing has increased as well with new construction over the last 30 years. We aren't seeing a lot of new construction right now, which is kind of unfortunate because of just where interest rates are. It's not profitable for the builders anymore. And then existing home sales, so many people are locked into a 3.5, maybe 4% interest rate. That when they went up to the sevens and eights, it wasn't economically beneficial for them to then upgrade their home. It just didn't make any sense. So that's pretty much where we're looking at for Tinton Falls. Nothing too crazy here. I guess you can kind of see one of the biggest differences, how those prices went up. Right here, $500,000 homes, they're up about 78, almost 80% in terms of like the amount of total sales. Whereas previously, there wasn't as big of increases over here. But let's move on. We'll check out some actual houses here. Our MLS likes to break it down to three different categories. You have adult communities, condos, and townhomes, and then single families. There are two, maybe three adult communities over here in Tinton Falls. Sorry about that. See what happened throughout the whole year here. You got one in the northern part and one in the southern part. Zoom out there. Yeah, there we go. So just kind of give you an idea. So it's basically two different communities. One, I think the southern one, is that the one more expensive priced one? Or is it the more northern one? It's more north. Okay, some of the northern one's gonna be more expensive than the southern one. So just kind of give you an idea. But these are prices for adult communities. You can see over here on the left. So 1.25 million, $11 million home, 700,000. That's why when you see like people like, oh, I gotta get out of Jersey, it's so expensive, yada yada yada. Well, yeah, because some of the I guess what's the, I guess yeah, it's just the retirement communities or 55 plus communities in general are pretty pricey, especially here in Monmouth County. Now, if you go into Ocean, it's going to be, quite a bit cheaper, but maybe you're not getting the same quality, the same size, or whatever the case is. Typically, I know in my head when I first started getting into real estate, it was like, okay, adult community, I'm thinking one levels, because I want to downsize. Maybe my body's not the best of shape as it was anymore. Don't want to do stairs, but there's been a pretty hefty like luxury 55 plus market that we have here in New Jersey recently, and especially in Monmouth County area. So it hasn't slowed down. We're seeing new construction ones being put up all over the place. So I feel like almost every time I see new construction, it is a 55 plus or just I guess a townhome community. So just something to look out for. But yes, if you're looking to necessarily, I guess, retire, be ready to pay a pretty hefty price here in Tinton Falls. These are pretty much all in the $1 million range almost. So just these couple that are, there's just one actually here that's just gonna be a little less. So yeah, be ready for that. Moving on to the condos and townhomes. This will be not going to be all the sales, but a decent size chunk is going to be the condos and townhomes. So here's just a couple different communities over there. There's going to be some new construction ones. They might have actually sold all the way out though. I don't know if they even sold any this year. Where are we at here? So just kind of give you an idea, 175 sales over the last year. And the price points, where are they going to be at? Well, pretty much kind of all over the place. It looks like I would say about that 300,000 mark, a little less than that. But these are one beds. And it goes all the way up to about that $730,000 range. So that's where the bulk of the prices are going to be. But that also is similar to what we just saw with the market statistics for all of Tinton Falls, whereas 500,000 or 550 was the median pretty much, right? Just scroll through a couple for you. Okay, here are some of the new construction ones that I was talking about. I knew they were somewhere. I don't know if they were still active or not. But yes, there's some communities in here. So you're looking at 675. These don't even have basements though. Nice units. I've actually toured them before, so I will post a link of that in the description. So if you want to just go see it in general, I can put that up there for you. And then I shouldn't say they don't have necessarily a basement. They're three-story ones, so you're gonna have the garage on the single level, and then right behind the garage, ironically, is going to be a living space. So I guess technically that could be your basement area, and just difference from the rest of the home. But they are pretty nice units. I would recommend checking out the video if you want to see the inside too, especially the one that's toward the model. So everything's pretty much decorated ready. You can see. But that's gonna be new construction prices in the upper sixes, mid sixes, couples in the fives. So if you're looking for a condo townhome in Tinton Falls, especially if you want like a three bedroom, so something that you can kind of grow into a little bit and not just have like if you're a growing family like one kid and then have to get out, something like that might be worth looking into, and then you can stay there for longer than a couple years. Then moving on to the single families, that'll be the other bulk of the sales here, and they're gonna be separated pretty much through all throughout, kind of similar to like the condos and townhomes, just where they're gonna be at price range wise. Well, the highest price one sold for $1.7 million. Lowest 362,000. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was actually had to be a flip though. So I would say somewhere right around this price point. Let's say 440. So say 450 and up, probably closer to 500,000 is where your ballpark's going to start now here in Tinton Falls, which again is similar to the statistics that we just saw, whereas the prices went up about 18% over the course of a year. So some of these smaller ranch style homes that we're seeing on the left over here might have been maybe 475, 450 a year ago or so, and a little bit easier a price point to get into. But again, still, in that 500,000 range isn't impossible by any means, especially if you're going to get a single family home, extra square footage, maybe a yard, that kind of thing. But I mean, look at this one right here, 562, 1,300. This one's going to be 1,562, right around the same price point. So not bad for an entry price, or especially that first time or starter home kind of situation. I've seen some, I feel like in my generation, skip the starter home in a sense and probably try to go right for the 30-year home, or like I guess the forever home in a sense. But um, it's still possible to find relatively affordable housing here in Monmouth County in certain pockets and certain areas. Tinton Falls being one of them. They will have their higher end stuff like we've already seen with the adult communities and the $1.7 million home just now. But for the most part, again, middle of the age, middle of the row, I guess in price points wise, I would say between 500,000 And it's going to say 8. I don't want to lie to you though, right? 8, 9, 900, somewhere in that range. So between about 500 and 900, let's just say, is going to be the bulk of your prices, and that's going to be for single families and condos and townhomes. Now, with that 18% increase in price points, there's something we got to talk about that's going to be happening not in Tinton Falls, but very close nearby, and it's a big talking point of recent news, and that's going to be Netflix. So if you're not familiar, Netflix is actually going to be moving into Monmouth County, and it's going to be in the neighboring towns of Shrewsbury. Don't know why that came up. It was an advertisement. And it's going to be not in Shrewsbury, my apologies. It's going to be the Old Fort Monmouth complex, and that's going to be Oceanport and Eatontown. So the way it's kind of broken down, is why it's also been taking a little extra long, is the fact it's broken down two different townships. So you have different planning boards and everything to go along with it. But Netflix is building an entire studio over here, a $903 million proposal. They're going to be doing all their film production, not all, but just a lot of their film production over here. And some people are calling it possibly the Hollywood of the East and some other nicknames to it. I don't know if we get that far. New Jersey has a different lifestyle than California, although we do have the beach, the shore. So there are some similarities to it, but the weather is definitely going to be a lot different here in the wintertime than it will be out in LA and San Diego and stuff. So I did have a picture of the complex pulled up. Here we go. I'll zoom in for you. So the whole site is just under 300 acres. I think it's about like 290 or so. And just kind of give an idea of how big it is. So this border actually along here. No, doesn't want to load for me. All right. Well, this red little dotted line is going to be the difference between Eatontown and Oceanport on either side. And this is the entire complex of what they're being, or what they're planning on doing. So different zones can be different things, but just kind of give an idea of how large this actually really is. So that's about what 300 acres, I guess, looks like on a map roughly. So they're going to be building GSC's 289. So what are their kind of plans for it? 12 sound stages, different retail shops, studio trailers. What else we got there? Cafeteria, office buildings. Absolutely nuts what they're kind of doing. So what does this mean for the housing prices? Well, we already went up 18%, right? Now, let's say they bring over 1,000 jobs to the area. Let's just say that, right? If we look back at our MLS real quick, we have 1,100, less than 1,100 listings, and some of those are probably already accepted offers. So let's just say we have 1,000 total listings all over Monmouth County right now, which is very low. If Netflix does this, I mean, it's obviously going to be done in stages. It's not going to be all at once. It's going to take a couple of years for this to be fully done, although they are probably starting construction in 2025. Let's say they brought 1,000 jobs. It's probably going to be more than that, more likely than not, maybe closer to 2,000 at least. We don't have enough housing for all those people to live. Just flat out, we don't have enough. So what's that going to mean? All the price points are going to go up. So as we go back out towards Tinton Falls, how far is this from there? It's pretty close. Where are we at here? Eatontown. There's Fort Monmouth. This is the complex. Yeah, Tinton Falls is right there. So anything that's going to be near the new Netflix compound is going to see massive appreciation, at least in my opinion. This cannot be understated that getting a home in Monmouth County over the next couple of years before this is going full force is absolutely huge for your bank account, pretty much. I guess not your bank account necessarily, but at least the equity in your home and your appreciation throughout. So if right now the average sales price or median sales price is about 550 or 525, whatever we just said for Tinton Falls, what's that going to look like in another 5 years? Probably something ridiculous. We already have housing shortage, lack of inventory, and a couple other different things. So when they're getting sucked up by a new industry coming in here, and we're not really like a film like town, that's not our thing. Our economy is the Jersey Shore and the beach. Obviously, through the TV show, you probably many of you have seen it. That's where we get a bulk of our economy from, the money and all the jobs it brings, and just the money that flows through Jersey in general. That's it. Now, on top of having the shore, all along here, now right here is going to be a massive film industry. Kind of nuts, isn't it, a little bit? So if you are going to be buying a house anytime in the next couple of years and you're thinking about looking at Monmouth County, the sooner the better. It's going to more than likely not appreciate. Even if we have some type of economic downfall here, just the total US in general, I find it hard to believe if this goes through as planned. Not to say we're going to be adverse to it by any means here in Monmouth County, but it's going to hit a little different maybe in some other areas than it will even would hit here in Monmouth, especially being in Tinton Falls, that close in the neighboring towns to this. So again, this area right here probably would get hit the hardest in my opinion, just because of just proximity alone. But for maybe some actors or whoever else that are moving to the area, if they can't afford that, maybe go a little farther out west. I mean, Cold Neck's a beautiful private area. Freehold has some great homes in it. Manalapan does too. So I don't see Middletown, another big area. I don't really see a portion of Monmouth that's probably not going to see an appreciation gap, or people maybe they get priced out of, this area and they have to go look in the more northern parts, maybe the Matawan, Hazlitt, Union Beach area for some homes. Or they go a little bit farther south. I mean, Belmore's obviously expensive already too, but just in general, it's something to talk about for just Monmouth County, Netflix, and look into it if you're any what interested in it. If you're trying to get into the film industry, if that's a big thing for you, highly recommend checking it out. But that's probably one of the biggest things that are coming out of 2024 going into 2025 for our area. And then the last thing I kind of want to cover is going to be just the shopping, dining, and like entertainment options, I guess, in a sense, right? So for shopping and dining, Tinton Falls, the main area where we at here, right down here. It's going to be like the big spot. The Jersey Shore Premium Outlets are going to be over here. That's going to have about 100 specialty stores, give or take. Anything, I mean, you can see the Nike, right? That's pulled up there. Ralph Lauren, Polo. You got Calvin Klein, maybe Adidas outlet, and a bunch of other ones. So that's going to be like your main spot. There's going to be different restaurants all along in here. Brick House Tavern. Whoops. There we go. Over there and a couple of other different spots. Home Depot is going to be there. Walmart. Literally everything's going to be like that one like massive spot. If we go a little bit farther east, it's technically not in Tinton Falls. It's in I think this is the beginning of Neptune. You're gonna have the Costco over here. So if you're in that southern point of Tinton Falls, that's going to be awesome to have there. Obviously, nothing's gonna be along the Garden State Parkway over here. And if you get to that more northern part, off of 34, will be some areas over here, or 36 too. But yeah, the southern part of Tinton Falls, that's going to be like your main hub for that, I would say. And then you'll get a little bit farther north over here. Of course, to hit the hotels by accident, my bad there. As you get a little bit further north, you're also going to have other towns. You're going to be closer to Red Bank. That's going to have a downtown area. Plenty of great shopping and dining over here, like plenty of it. If you're looking for a good bar, good restaurant, I'm sorry, not Tinton Falls. Red Bank is definitely the way to go. So, whereas maybe some of your options in Tinton Falls are going to be limited, the surrounding areas by far definitely are not. So, let's just talk about entertainment for a second, right? So, over in the Red Bank area, it's more that city, downtown atmosphere kind of lifestyle. You're gonna have different bars, restaurants. You can catch comedy shows over there, different plays. That's a nice thing to do if you want to just go out for a day on the track. Monmouth Park's over here. I'll zoom out for you real quick. So you got Tinton Falls, Monmouth Park. They have a horse track over there. It's been going forever at this point. It's a great day out with the family. They've also built in a sports book, so if you're not having any luck with the horses, you can try yourself some sports betting, maybe win a couple bucks there. But that's something you can do. In Tinton Falls, you have Capelli Sports Center. That's going to be adult and youth leagues all over the place. They do soccer. I think lacrosse is over there now too, and a couple different outdoor sports. But they also have a bubble, so you can do it indoor and all year round. You're also going to be talking about the Jersey Shore. We said it 100 times on this video, it feels like already, but different towns you can go hang out at. I would say your most popular and like destination towns within reach of Tinton Falls is definitely going to be Long Branch because they're going to have Pure Village. It's a big shopping center over there too. Some really nice and really expensive condos over there. Asbury Park's another big one, similar to Red Bank. We're going to have that more downtown atmosphere life, but they're also going to have the Asbury Park Convention Center, different concerts all the time or throughout the summer. They have like their summer series over there with the Stone Pony. You got Wonder Bar. Belmar, very big going out nightlife. So those are probably your top three. And a little bit farther south there, you're also going to have Manasquan too. So I would say those would be like your top options. A little bit more touristy though too during the summer, so you kind of have to be aware of that. Versus maybe some like more local and like low key spots. But there's plenty to do in and around Tinton Falls, and I really can't stress that enough. But that's pretty much the main things I definitely want to cover with this video. If you guys want to see more information on Tinton Falls, I've done some other videos in the past, so I'll definitely link them in the description down below. But otherwise, feel free to reach out if you're looking to move to the area. All my contact information is down low in the comments and description. So whether you're 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, even a year out, doesn't matter to me. Let's just get you on the right path towards your real estate goals. And if you're thinking about moving to a different part of the Central Jersey area, check out 2 videos popping up and hopefully help out a bit too. Have a great day.